Yay. I'm here, guys. I'm just getting everything sorted out so that I can be able to see any chats, so that I can interact best with you. I am so excited to break this episode down. It's me. I am sitting on the Iron Throne. I'm here. I hope everyone is doing well. Welcome to Westeros. We need to jump right in to season 2, episode 5, Regent of House of the Dragon. Yeah, insane. A lot happened. Very dramatic, very beautifully shot. I had a great time watching it. And I am so excited to get into all the craziness with you guys. And let me just fix this so that I can see my good friend. Yes, excellent. Hey, let's put you up on the screen. Yes, nice. Welcome. Pin message, put user. Nice. I love it. Show. Bam. Hi. Hi to you. Yes. All right, Luce, you're in. Thanks for showing up. All right, let's just jump right into it, okay? This episode started off after Maylee's last episode. Renice's dragon had her fucking shit decapitated. Ooh, pardon my French, but okay, the Dance of Dragons has pretty much began. Okay, if I must say so myself. Um, we had Aegon. I have to catch you up. So Aegon came into the battle for no reason. He's the king. What is he doing getting into this battle? He shows up. His brother Aemon, salty as all hell, blasts him with a Dracarys fire, leaves him scorched. He goes to the ground. He's down and out. His dragon lost a wing. Rhaenys tries to fight Aemon's dragon Vagar, and sadly she loses that fight, even though her dragon at least just slashed up the guy. And she did a good job trying to stop Vagar, but that dragon is too massive. Um, and she sadly lost her life there. She sadly lost her life. It was a sad thing. Um, so we lost Rhaenys. Yeah, the queen who never was. Mwah, mwah. It was so sad. I was sad. I was telling my mom, "Oh my God, if we lose Rhaenys, it's just over for me. I don't know what I'll do." But yep, we lost her. So we catch this new episode, season 2, episode 5, Regent, and it starts off on a very dreary note. We see Corlys over at Driftmark Castle, and it's high tide, and even though it's supposed to be the castle with no tide. Um, and man, he looks heartbroken. He's thinking about everything that just happened. He lost his wife, and I feel like they did a good job showing his mental state at the moment. It was like a sunset, and it was like, oh, everything sunset on his life because he lost his babe. And then we had Rhaenyra reflecting and everything going on. But, we'll just jump right into it. And, we do get to King's Landing. And in King's Landing, they're doing a procession where they're marching down Maylease, the head of Maylease, Rhaenys' dragon, through the town, and people are just like over that. They think it's sick. They're like, "What is going on? This is a black omen." And could it be a black omen also for the blacks that are now going to be seeking revenge? Because the people are worried. They don't have any food. They got nothing to hope for at this point, and they're worried. And someone even comments like, I thought dragons were gods. And Hugh Hammer, who may be important later, we discover, if you know, you know. He says they're just meat, you know. And when he says that in the context of um, the show and the state of things, it's like, well, we ain't got no meat around here. We got no food. We got nothing. So there's a lot of food references in this episode, and you can see how important it is. Because the show is like a lot about the aristocrats, the politicians, the royalty dealing with everything. And you'll see how the little people right? The quote little people get involved because of lack of meat, shall we say, the lack of food. Um, so yeah, um, you see the procession going through the town, and the people were worried. The extras who were in this project, I wish I could have been there. I was like, oh, I'm a ham. I was like, oh my, you would see me just like that. I would have been losing it. A dragon. I'm like, that's a dragon. That's a dragon. I would have been losing it. But yeah, so the people they were almost kind of giving a little bit of that. Some of the extras there, in the scene, they couldn't believe it. And yep, they march it through the town, and people are not feeling it, and it backfires. Kristen Cole over here, beautiful as he is not very bright. He thought this was going to be a great moment, like, oh yeah, the people will see we are powerful. But him and Eamon, they didn't realize this wasn't very smart. Not very smart, Anita. Not very smart. This was dangerous, because you showed the vulnerability of the dragons. People know now that they're vulnerable because they thought they were just, undefeatable because they have Vagar, who is so strong and so powerful. And maybe he's not so strong and so powerful. Maybe their whole town could be destroyed too, especially if Rhaenyra, the queen, over there in Dragonstone, decides to seek revenge, right? Sure. Thank you for being a friend. She might blow that whole thing down. Okay, so on Dragonstone, Rhaenyra stands at the edge of the castle, gazing out the sunset over the sea, perhaps longing for Rhaenys' return, right? The reflective moment, you can see, like, it just encapsulates everything that the show has put her through. She just lost her biggest confidant in Rhaenys, and now she's a woman standing alone, right? We'll find her at her small council, and they are just sexist jerks. Okay. Whereas Katy Perry's Woman's World is very much that. It's kind of like, I won't even touch that. But it's a mock woman's world in that small council meeting. So maybe they would have been playing Katy Perry's song very appropriately. Um, da, 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 da. Allison does notice that Aegon is wearing the dagger that, has the message on it of the Song of Ice and Fire. And she knows that Aemon's wearing it, so she knows that Aemon probably has something to do more than they're revealing at this point. Um, and then yeah, as that goes on, before we head over to Dragonstone, yeah, we do see the procession and they bring in the little caskets. It's a very small casket almost. It looks like that they were dragging the cart, the crate that they had Aegon in. Not very, didn't really suit well for a king. So they open that thing up and he's there fried to a crisp. The silent sisters are on the ready, and everybody's attending to the maesters are attending to the wounds on this guy, because he is badly burnt. Aegon is badly burnt, and the armor, the Valerian steel armor, is sticking to him, and they peel it off. And they got lettuce there. It's like medieval, medieval healthcare. So they got lettuce that they're binding to the kid to try to save him, and at least keep him comfortable. I didn't see any milk of the poppy being stirred up, but it's like their morphine drip. So they had that going. They were hiding him so the public, small folk. Yeah, I thought that was too. I want to see how fucked the Greens. Yeah, I can see that. I thought so too. Right. I got you. I got you on the R. Um yeah, I felt that too, but it was just like that was like it was still a little crate. Like, was he like crumbled up in there? Like, I don't know what was going on with that. It seemed very small. Um Anyway, they had that going on, and you see Allison, she had concern. And you think about, this was again just like where she was for her husband, like in that same room, probably like seeing a deteriorated Targaryen, um on from the throne, just now at their weakest point. um right, we can show that comment. Size doesn't always matter. Right. You know, like our small council meeting, right? Our small council meeting. It's always big in spirit, you know? So yeah, so but Allison actually did a good job showing, I felt like, concern. She was like, is my son gonna die? And they said, the next 3 minutes are crucial, my dear. You gotta get the hell out of here. Let's do our work. And she's like, all right, fine, I'll be watching from over there. Um and you could practically hear Scar's theme song starting up in the background as Eamon looks on, and he's like, "Stick with me, boys, and you'll never go hungry again." We're talking Kings and Secession, okay? So, yep. As we move on, we'll get back to what's going on over there in King's Landing, but. We have Rhaenyra's council at the painted table, and Rhaenyra, she is going through it because, first of all, we got this fool, Sir Alfred Broom. He is just being a sexist jerk. He's talking about, he said, the gentler sex heretofore have not been much privy to the strategies of battle or their execution. Excuse me? Are you trying to play my girl Rhaenys who just sacrificed her life when you say execution? Because you're trying to say, are you trying to say that Rhaenys didn't accomplish what she needed to do when you said execution, Sir Broom? How dare you? That was such a low blow. I didn't see his ass getting ready to go to war to do nothing. So he was just trash. He was just I didn't appreciate him, and I appreciate what Rhaenyra does later. And yes, Mr. Stevie Joseph, Jimmy Moonshine, he'll be back in the small council meeting soon. He's in Dorne. Okay, he's doing some things. He's working with the White Worm, and neither has he the piece of right. Exactly. There's no. They never so right. He makes his remark, and it's like Rhaenyra has to put him in his place. Okay, war has ever been for men to make, right? And it's like, and you never seen war either. We've always lived in the peace, so it's always been, as they call it, what the sweet summer kids, sweet summer children. They've always were. So, right, the sexist fool. Did he forget who conquered the seven kingdoms? Let it be known. Let it be known. So yeah, they don't get no respect. They don't get any respect around there. Um, and you can see like her small council's falling apart, especially without Rhaenys. You could see how she was like she added some clout, some credibility to her command. Because Rhaenys didn't play that. Um, do. Yeah, so that's going on, and I felt like Rhaenyra, she handled it pretty well. Did you guys think she handled it pretty well? I thought she put them in their place. I think she tried to do her best because I think over the season she's been like a little bit more even keeled than I think we'd expect, like a Cersei in that position to be. She would have been like, you dead. I don't care who you think you are. We'll get you replaced, and someone will be more than glad, to take that place. Not with you questioning me because I will threaten you. She didn't even threaten him. You see how nice that was of her? Good job not threatening him because that would have been. I already know a couple of people in this chat. They would have been ready to threaten his life if he even thought to think that he could talk to somebody that way around here. You know, so we had that going on, and then we reflect on her conversation with Miseria. Um, and a woman comes in and she's like, "Do you want your tea?" And she's like, "Not now, man. I'm like, I got things going on. I got things going on here. Like, you fucking asking about my ready for my evening tea, and during this like, impending crisis, like, come on, man." And it's just like a lot of stress going on. Um, and eventually, Miss Bela, she comes in the room as well. Or she, eventually, um, you see the duality of like I think they show Bela in one room instead of at the small council meeting where she could have possibly had a seat. Um, and she does, and she's not because she's busy doing her own thing, doing her own studies. A lot of women are studying. Okay, they are learning about what the strategies are to handle all of this. Because you got Damon over there doing his own thing with Dark Sister, trying to usurp every. He got his own problem. So the women over here have to be strategic, right? And the gentler sex got the bigger brains around here. And the gentler sex seems to have that dragon power around here also, well, somewhat. Um, so Bela does speak to Rhaenyra in this episode, and Rhaenyra's like, "Oh, your grandmama, oh, she was so wonderful, and I would still like to have a hand, and I would love if you pretty much ask your dad if he's down to be our hand." Yeah, so we eventually see her get over there. We see Miss Bela. She goes to speak to Corliss, and he's like, "My castle is a tomb," and Bela speaks to him, and she's like putting him pretty much in his place. Like, that's her granddad, not her dad. Did I say dad? I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I did say Rhaenys is her grandma. And yeah, and Corliss is her granddad as well. Correct. Rhaenyra needs to make the White Worm officially her master of whispers. I guess, I don't know. I feel like she needs a hand. In my opinion, she needs a hand first, because it's like, I feel like the hand position comes off very official, in the context of the show, where it's like, I think they would think, oh, the woman got the master of whispers, but she's got no hand. No one's actually consult. So I don't know how seriously they would take her. So I would say um, I would hope that she does get a hand quickly too, because I think they both are necessary roles. Essentially the hand is there. Is another the master whispers is another helpful strategist, or at least puts you plugged into to the people and knows all the goings on. So it's important. It's like your FBI going. It's your FBI CIA operatives essentially. Rainier is playing it smart. She's using the white worm. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Um, and so yeah, talking about Corliss and his conversation with Bela. Bela is pretty much like, um, I know she says something to the effect of like, look, Rhaenys was not just something like an item for you to lose. She was a lot to a lot of us, you know. And she meant a lot to this world. And she made a big grand statement, and she was a hand also, and she had a seat at that table, and she was trying to make a difference. And what are you over here doing? The same shit. It seems like the whole freaking series, he was always doing something else. um, let's see what you're saying in chat. She could be her hand too, but I don't want to push it, especially since she openly says she has no real loyalty, but to the realm. Very Varys. Um, oh, you're talking about Miss Area. I'm like, Bela? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. She definitely could be a hand. I could see that. But I think because of like her standing in public, it's like, this is your hand. They're gonna just she can't catch a break over here. It's like this team is very put together. Like, whoever we could get, we gonna work it out. I'm giving them a chance. They giving me a chance, and we're gonna do this. We make our armor, like, you're making your own T-shirts for your team and your baseball team instead of getting them printed. That's what they're doing. They're making their own in their basement. Very scrappy. Corliss will accept the hand. I think Corliss will accept the hand position. I think he wants to um, do what's right. But yeah, we didn't talk about yet that you know, as even in oh yeah, that was a nice moment. He does say my castle is a tomb, and then he says even the death of my wife does not content her. He says when he's talking about Rhaenyra's offer, and that's when Bela has to set him straight. And then he's like, let me think about that. And then he's like, but I'd like to make you my heir. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm blood and fire. You need someone who's like water, sand, a ship, whatever. Sorry, I'm butchering the quote. It was very poignant, beautiful. But essentially, she's like, that ain't me. And yeah, and so yeah. It was really a nice moment. I feel like I've been saying every episode, I am excited to see more from Bela. Um, there's just more to come. I really have good faith in that. Rhaenyra's father did her no favors. He wanted her to be a queen to rule, yet in his lifetime did little to no effort to get the people behind her. There was people were behind her, during his lifetime, and at least they feigned that they were. They act like they, oh yes, but as soon as he's gone, we will serve Rhaenyra, as you have asked us, Viserys. And they had her as the cup holder, and she was around, at least listening to, the small council meetings, which is important. Um, Also to learn what's going on, and she says it in the episode. She wishes, she says she had been a boy, maybe she would have learned more about sword fighting and all that kind of thing. But he had her as the cup holder, and it's like, hey, at the same time, it's rough, right? Like when you're a single dad, especially back then. um when you're a single dad, and you're trying to get some. You want your daughter back in the day, right, to still be a woman. You don't want her to get accused of being some crazy old, whatever, too masculine. He'd like her to find a husband eventually because he's very old school, So he was still trying to let her be a woman and still be able to rule and still have her womanly ways and not be too out of the tradition. But yeah, I think he lacked vision for what it would be if he was really going to put her on the throne. He should have made some more exceptions. Allison screwed her with her misunderstanding. Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree. Allison was an idiot. Definitely screwed things up. If she were a man, he would have made her fearsome, treated her like a son. He did her a great disservice. Oh, Viserys, hey. The only person who was willing to put a woman on the throne, though. So we'll take, that was something. He was trying, but it was a new role. It was a new he was treading where it seemed like it hadn't been almost treaded before, like new territory. Like, how do I prepare a woman to rule in this day and age, with the shape of things? Kind of like real life, right? What do you do? How do you do that? um and yeah, so we let's go back to King's Landing, right? In King's Landing, the small council debates the regency. Allison suggests herself. She says, I did once do this before, if y'all have not forgot. I was doing this for years for my husband, Viserys. Viserys. And yeah, she was just like, I've done this before, I can do it again. So, yep. Why? Let me just go here. Yep. And people were like, "Oh no, no, my dear, no, you will not be you will not be, you're not suited. You're a woman." And they pretty much let it be known that this whole war was fought on the basis that yeah, a man needs to be the king. So Allison, it would just undermine our whole point of doing all this if we make you the queen regent or whatever. Let's see what you're saying, chat. I think he did that to Gil as well. He brought peace, but he knew Rhaenys was supposed to rule, not him. Yeah, I think there was that also going on for sure. Good point. Um, so yeah, so Allison is just like, I recommend me, and they're like, no, not you, not you. And then she's like, you not me. And she's like, Laris, come on, you know what's going on, you tell them. You used to like love my feet, you'd served at my feet before, Laris. And he's like, mm, it seems like a man's job, but that, excuse me, then he's like, but the hand speaks for the king. So what do you say, Sir Kristen Cole? And he puts him on the spot. And on his spot, um, in his spot, he's very much like, reflecting on all he saw there at Rook's Rest, and he's like, no, it has to be Aemon. It has to be Aemon. And they're like, Aemon, yep. And she's like, Aemon. She's like ultimately, utterly betrayed. And Olivia Cook did a fantastic job with that scene. I was listening to the director of the episode talking about how she never overdoes anything. It's just like so much subtlety, and so they start out. Sorry, Eamon is just like, so it's decided. Excellent. I'll be sitting right over here. He's like, got my eye patch. I'm right, ready to go. Got my little ball thing. Boop. So yeah, yeah, I love that scene with Allison. That's true. That was such a humiliating scene for Allison. I know. Um, and then yeah, so after he's like takes over, they keep talking about what's the next plan. All right, we got to get it going. And yeah, and you just hear them discussing their next plans. What's the next plan of action? And Allison is just like listening to everything, and she's in shock, and it's like almost like she's realizing how effed up things got because she freaking told them she did the wrong thing by backing her son all of a sudden, and it wasn't even the right thing. The rage, the thoughts going through her head, I felt like these idiot men have no idea what they're doing. I'm the smartest person in the room. Okay? Fuck y'all. Ooh, F y'all. Right. Yeah, definitely. I feel you on that. Allison was just like, how is this possible? How are you guys like uh, I don't get how you people are the ones deciding everything when it clearly should be me. But again, she's fighting on the wrong side. If she had her wits about her, she would have been someone that would have been possibly, if she would have stood a good friend, she would have been someone who, yeah, who could have been allied to Rhaenyra. But she undermined her bestie, and she's got what she got. The acting performance, she said everything with saying nothing at all. Right. It's like Drag Race, right? You got lip sync for your life, and it's like face choreography. And that was a lot of face emoting choreography for Olivia Cook. That was fantastic. She did a great job. And yep. So let's just move along. Um, and so that where all that's going on, we see Aemon's rule begins. Um, what do you guys think? Are you worried as I am for Aemon taking this on? I'm like, what? This is insane. This is utterly insane. Um, so yeah, now Aemon's begun his rule essentially, right? The King Regent or whatever the title is for him. Um, and did we go there yet? We might as well discuss, when Allison goes to Mr. Kristen Cole and she's like, what happened? Like, hello. Don't you see what Eamon has suddenly become? And it's like, girl, you have no awareness of how you contributed to your son being freaking the garbage man that he is, the monster almost that he is. Um, Very heartless that he would burn his own brother, even though his brother was not such a nice guy to him anyway. Um, who's got guts? Amen. He's got guts. He was very brave. He was brave. He's a brave person. I mean, the fact that he got Vagar shows how brave he is. But yeah, so talking about Kristen Cole, she's like, Kristen Cole, what's going on? You didn't do it. And he's there cleaning the sword with his lemon and salt, Martha Stewart style remedy that he's got. He's got to get the blood off. He's seen a lot of things, and he just seems shocked. Like, probably all the burning flesh, the people that he saw that just were like disintegrated, like reduced to ashes before his eyes, so much death. Left him in shock. And I think Also, he chose Aemon because maybe he doesn't want to die. Maybe he's like, these no, but nothing here is fair, and me standing up by you, I could reveal myself as a traitor to the crown, to the king, because everybody already probably knows about their relationship. Um, let's see, he's dangerous, and the show needs to lean into the fact that they always refer to Aemon as the Kinslayer, which is one of the worst things in the Game of Thrones universe. Right. Um, let's see. Let's see where it goes. I think it feels like with the series they're definitely trying to at least humanize everybody and give them a place to go. I think they wanna you know, wanna aim in, yeah. I think they want it to be something that they can get to, right? To make it pay off. If you start there, then there's no journey to take. But if he's sympathetic and you actually care about the villain, and then he gets to his worst place, just like on Game of Thrones, like some of these people were heartless, and we've seen them get more heartless, and some people had heart, and then we've seen them completely deteriorate. In the show, they're referring to him as Aemon the One Eye, but in the books, he's the Kinslayer. It's a far more oppressive title. Right. I see that. And yep, and then so is Damon. Yeah, they definitely have a lot of correlations between the two of them. Even in that scene last week where he has a, a, a fantasy where he sees himself with the eye patch, some foreshadowing to some upcoming battles that we'll see between the two. So, yep, we have all that going on. And Eamon, sorry, we'll just wrap that up with Allison being like, so you're gonna just let him do that? He's like, oh, what I saw. She's like, well, what happened exactly? What role did Eamon play? And Kristen Cole's like, I could not say. And it's like, you could not say, or you will not say. What's going on there? And she's like, but I think she gets it. She's like, all right, I get it. Shit went down. She already saw the dagger on Eamon. She knows he was involved. And then yeah, so we leave that at that. Allison is seemingly a nobody. She's there so frustrated, and she's left frustrated. But Kristen Cole's like, Allison, I've spared you. And she's like, I didn't ask to be spared. And did I say you could say my name? Oh, I don't think so. So, and we do see the duality in that, because the show always has something going on with the blacks and the greens. They're very similar. And back over there at not Dragonstone and Harrenhal, we have Damon, who's over there asking to be called the king, and they're like, well, you'd be called the king consort. And he's like, I think that last bit seems a little bit like redundant. I don't think we need that, right? It's just like too much talking when you add that to the title. So just call me King. It was your grace, and now he wants to be called King. Damon has his own things going on, right? So let's get into what was happening with Damon in this episode. And so Damon's over there haunted by Harrenhal. Like Damon is also a Kinslayer. Yeah, and then that part was gangsta. Like, who said you could call me by my name? Right. I did love that. I did love that. That was I appreciated that. But it's also like, "Mwah, girl, you wasn't saying that last night, honey. So please, that power play, those days of pulling power plays with me, girl, that's over. Now he's got the highest position. Nobody's listening to her. So, mm, she could save all that. And yeah, so we have Damon back at Harrenhal, and he's having visions, continued visions. It seems like he's having a vision of who seems a white-haired woman who's talking about like that her poor favorite son, and giving all this extraness, and he's like having intimate affairs with her, intimate relations with this lady, and it turns out to be his mother. So I don't know what that means. I'll be curious to see. Out here sleeping with his mother in the haunting dreams of Harrenhal. Right. I'm like, what's going on? And I was listening to the director talk about it, and they filmed it in a very interesting way. Like they did it with no with the woman speaking while all these things are happening. They did it with just voiceover, and they wanted to feel like very disjointed and like such a crazy vision, so that they knew when they got into the editing room. Um, that they could just play with it. Yeah, I definitely got that that was his mom, because she even says my son at the end, and I caught that. So I was like, what? So he's there having these visions, and he will be in a rude awakening when Rhaenyra pulls his dragon tail. Right. Let's see. Let's see. So all that's going on. Um, and Damon, outside of that, before he started having all these illusions, he was over here trying to to get the Brackens to bend the knee to him, and he's threatening them with what is it, Syraxis, to burn them, to burn them alive, and yeah. They were trying to threaten him to burn him alive, and they still didn't want to bend the knee because they could see the tyranny that Damon was going to bring. And what does Damon do? He tells, tell me in the chat what it was. I know it's the Brackens, and then they were trying to get the other folks. So I don't know, but he was trying to get the other people on his team. So he told them, "Oh, well, you just gotta do things that I can't do, um, and do your worst to them." So what does he do? They go off. They start. He's having in those dreams. You can hear screams and stuff like that, and it's hard to tell if it's like from. I think there's a tower in Harrenhal that's called the Wailing Tower or something, because it sounds like, because the way the wind passes through it sounds like, "Ooh," like very haunty, very scary. Why is she so scary? And they do have some of that you could hear a little bit in the background, but also while he's having these illusions or whatever, somebody comes to the castle, and apparently it's everybody has shown up, and they want to speak to Damon because they're like, what are you up to? His illusions get broken again, and it's like, he's like, who would dare to like wake me? And they're like, listen, our women are being killed. This is like crazy. Um, yes, not in the Ellen way. I do got my Ellen hair on today. But yeah. So they have they're like they're like, what's going on? What's going on, Damon? You tyrant! How dare you? Are you in charge of all this going on? Do you know what's going on? How dare you? We don't trust that. How can we trust your word that this wasn't you? A person who would have a child killed in their sleep, and he's there like shocked, right? And I think as viewers, we're expecting like, oh no, Damon's gonna definitely do something. He's about to slice somebody's head off. But I think the whole vision thing going on left him feeling like he doesn't know what's real. Is this part of like um, some kind of hallucination or something? He does not know. He's feeling very off. Damon told him do what he had to do to get them to bend the knee. Right. So Damon was just like left kind of like flabbergasted, like, damn, my plans are not working out. He's half like messed up. Um, and yeah, and in that moment, we know that he had been speaking to Alice Rivers, and Alice Rivers does make a comment like, I wish your mother would have got to know you, or you would have got to know her, because maybe he would have been like a kinder person. Maybe that's what she's sensing, and she's also hinting that she could see his visions. And Mr. Stevie Joseph, our Jimmy Moonshine, who's in the chat, brought up an interesting theory, right? So, spoiler alert, I'll put my fist up if you don't want any possible spoilers, but this is just a theory. So I'll just have my fist up for this possible theory. Um, I'll put it down when I'm done saying it. But he was saying that he thinks Alice Rivers could be a ghost. Yeah, that she could just be like haunting, like one of the spirits of Harrenhal, and an illusion, a delusion that Damon is seeing. His delusional self is seeing. So I don't know. That could be something. That could be something. He could be onto something there. I'm very curious to see how this turns out. Okay, very curious. Good theory. Good theory. Um. So yes, right. So we got that going on, and yeah. So with Damon, the aftermath of the Blackwoods, sacking the Bracken's land while carrying Rhaenyra's banner, Sir Simon Strong suggests seeking Rhaenyra's support, which Damon stubbornly refuses. And it, like, this scene does highlight the conflicts of Damon's struggles to balance between pride and strategic necessity, because he's like, oh, um, Strong is suggesting maybe you guys can help because the roof is falling apart, this thing, and he just keeps going on a long list of how the Harrenhal is just completely falling apart. And Damon's like, well, we're gonna figure it out. I know somebody. I got my uncle Louis, and he could do this for $12. So I'm gonna handle that. Don't worry, I'm gonna work it out. And yeah, so we got all that going on, and let's see what else. But in the other worlds, we see one of my favorite places where we have Jacaerys. He's over there talking to Lady Jane Eyre, right? And that was really cool because I love that setting. He decides to meet with the House of Frey since they could. Oh no. That's where Reina is. I'm sorry, Reina's over there, and that was an interesting scene because they call her out. They're like, "Look, girl, you here? It's fine, but." We was expecting dragons, and she's like, "Well, you got dragons," and they said, "These dragons are still wet in the tube. They're just fresh from the egg." And she's like, "Well, you didn't specify what dragons you wanted," and they're like, "Oh, you getting fresh with me, girl? When I'm the one who has your food, huh? Where I could decide where maybe you get thrown out that moon roof or whatever they call it." And it's like, oof. Look, I don't like to be in this position either. And Raina's like trying to like appeal to Lady Jane Eyre, and yeah, but she's just like, this is Lady Jane Eyre's like, look, I extend my deepest sympathy for you and your the loss of your grandmother. All right, have a good night. I'll see you at dinner at 6 p.m. You better be there. Um, so that was like just it was a very quick scene, but it does get. I was glad we're still getting to see what's going on with Raina and Bela because they're my girls. I want to see what's happening with them because I feel like we're setting up something big for them. Um, so yeah, let's see. But yeah, so we did have. I just want to talk to see. Yeah, so Jacaerys, right? Jace, he goes and speaks to the twins. Da, 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 ba, 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 ba. Viserys by okay, oh right. And he speaks to the twins and he pretty much offers them Harrenhal if they'll bend the knee. Right? We're just gonna jump right to it. It's a very lengthy scene and it's like beautiful and he's just like, look, he's doing a lot more than what some of these people are doing in order like in the name of his mother. But I don't think she's gonna be very happy, especially because they're offering Harrenhal and Damon's already there, and now it's just gonna get ugly. We discover in another scene that Damon is just there, like, look, I should be at King's Landing. I should be sitting on the Iron Throne, and when I eventually am, then Rhaenyra can join me. She could join me, ruling as king and queen. But he is not just trying to like give that all up. Just basically for someone else. That was wild because I'll be like, girl, we got dragons. Treat me right before the pop up. The Lady Aaron be wild. Yeah, I like Lady Aaron though. And it seems like she shows some I know in she's a lesbian, and it seems like Rhaenyra was always cool with that. So I think that's why also she does have some allegiance to Rhaenyra, because Rhaenyra is just like, I respect you. I got no problem with LGBTQ. I'm very open minded. The phrase are horrible, by the way, always. Yeah, the phrase, they already seem horrible. I don't even want to. I get that. I'm like, this is gonna be a bitch. So Jace is making deals with the wrong people, and he's there clicking glasses, thinking he's so smart. And I'm sure this isn't gonna go exactly as planned. Like nothing ever does. And yeah, we can talk about some of the other little plots going on. We do know Mazaria already had her spies in King's Landing, right? She's gonna be setting. She said she tells Rhaenyra, another scene, like there's other ways to win war. Oh, the phrase, the Red Wedding, right, right. There's other ways to win wars, um, and sometimes a little gossip, a little propaganda can go a long way. So they did send their little spy to King's Landing. So we'll see how that moves through, because we see her end up over there, and we'll see how that sways the people. But we didn't talk about. I just realized we didn't talk about Aemon's first. What they were just talking about, in that small council meeting, while Allison is just like having her panic attack. Having her panic attack. They were talking about like take down the rat catchers and lock down the city, and the people are starving. In one scene they show, like we talked about earlier, like food is very important. They were the people were picking through rotted fruit to see which one's the best, and um, Mr. Hugh Hammer, um, he was like going through it because his daughter is very sick, and his wife is just like, do what you got to do. And when it comes down to it and you end up feeding, ghosts, then don't be mad at me. And that's setting up a lot, as we know, because as we get towards the end of the episode, um, that was some wedding. Oh, I know, that was definitely some wedding. You guys watching this later, I hope you've watched Game of Thrones, because oof, that red wedding, that was something. Which is why she's the perfect master of whispers. Yeah, yeah. Mazaria does. She knows. She's tuned in. She's what you want. Um, I just perfectly suits the rule. Lieutenant, he certainly has experience by Malba on his own. He's never. Yeah. So Hugh Hammer and his struggle, that they show him and his wife holding their daughter, who's like sickly. She looks like I don't know what. Oh, she's like dying. She's like all the emotions. She's sick, and they are just like trying to get out. They can't, and they're like, "We want meat. We want meat." And yeah, we'll see. We'll see what the Rhaenyra does. Maybe she starts getting people like, if Rhaenyra was on this Iron Throne, you'd all have food. If you can make it to Dragonstone, we'll feed you. I could see some kind of underground railroad for them. So we'll see what happens. Um, and yeah, so we did see that Rhaenyra does tell Mr. Sir Alfred to get on over to Harrenhal and check on Damon, because she's like, just let me know what he's thinking, what he's up to, what his thoughts are, what his plans are, what he's about. Like, what is he about? Because I haven't heard boo from him. And so Alfred's like, "Is this because you're mad at me?" And she's like, "No, no, you disrespectful ass. There's nothing to do with that. I just need someone to do that, and I think you're perfectly suited since you got so much effing mouth. I think you're just so perfect for this job. Um, so go, go, and if he happens to kill you, well, I won't miss you either, so that doesn't hurt." Um, so we'll see. We'll see if he gets recruited by Damon, because Damon, he's looking for people to help, and I think Um, Sir Alfred definitely's got Sir Mr. Broom. He's got his connection to the Broom dynasty, so he has his followers. So we'll see. Rhaenyra might have made a bad decision with that. Um, let's see. Time could be more urgent since the River Lords have shown up at Harrenhal in the dead of the night and are pissed off at Daemon, right? Because he was sicking the Blackwoods on the Brackens. Mm-hmm. We already know that. And while they were carrying the red and black banners, because Damon just doesn't know anything. And I just want to make sure I didn't miss any interesting details from this week that stood out. Um, let's see. Although Westeros was one of the bloodiest battles to date, it might be something more innocuous and unexpected potential to topple Rhaenyra's enemies. Mm. So yeah, it looks like they're getting ready to get the small people into a revolution, Occupy Wall Street type of vibe. They're gonna be having well, as we end, we see Jaceres have a conversation with Rhaenyra, and he comes back and he's just like, well, maybe we could do some things. Maybe we can get some more dragon riders. And she's like, but it's always just, it's supposed to be only pure blood Targaryens. And he's like, well, isn't that according to the Targaryens? And as she knows, he's not a full blood Targaryen. So it could just be people with possibly just some Targaryen blood, or it could be whoever the dragons like. We don't know. So we already know some people will be claiming dragons. I'm sure, Bela, or sorry, yeah, Bela turned down the drift smoke, the drift mark, throne, and he has Adam Hall and Alan Hall, um, as possible, replacements over there, Mr. Corliss. So we know those people may become, those Valerians may become dragon riders. We have Hugh Hammer, he may become a dragon rider. And then there's a lot of like bastard children that we saw like um, in the pits, like when they showed like the kids fighting or whatever in the pits. So one of those kids, bastard kids, might end up on the team. All these random characters they're showing are not so random. I mean, it's the Dance of Dragons, and there's so many unclaimed dragons in play so far. Right, right. So the comments is that to get the dragon rider. It's a great how Jason's stepping up. It's great how Jason's stepping up to get the dragon rider. Right. So that could be interesting. Yeah. So this is all turning out quite interesting. Quite interesting. And it's good to hear that the House of the Dragon did have some really strong ratings for these last few episodes. So people are back in it, it seems like, since things have picked up. I know at Comic Con, they're going to have the folks are going to get to see a preview of next week's episode. So we'll get to know what's going on soon enough with that. I'm sure some things will leak out, but we'll stay away from leaks because I am just in it. I don't like to see leaks on anything. I don't even watch the trailers for the next week because I don't want to have any idea. Drift Mark. I said Drift Smoke before. I'm so sorry. Drift Mark. Um, I am of blood and fire. Drift Mark must pass to salt and sea. Oh, that was a beautiful line. Sorry I butchered it earlier. Um, yeah, I'm just going over the show notes to make sure I didn't miss anything that's important to discuss about the episode. Yeah, going back to Laris though, I always like to end up back with him. He with his little looks that he was given behind Kristen Cole's back and everything, behind Allison's back at Kristen Cole. It's like he knows everything and he's not gonna hesitate to put them in sticky situations and to make everybody uncomfortable. Yes. So I'm very curious to see how this one goes. Uh, and yeah, this was a fun episode. I loved discussing this one. There's so much going on. And yeah, back to Alice Rivers. I love her character. I'm very curious to see what more will come from her. She was a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm like, ooh, where is she going? Is she a ghost? What is she? What's up with her? She seems a lot of fun. Like just all her magic spells, and she knows a lot of information. So I'm hoping there'll be some with this, with all this magic going on and these other characters. I didn't mention how Damon ends up seeing his other wife again in this episode. Um, Lots to scroll and read. So yeah, definitely lots to scroll and read. Um, yeah, let's see what happens. Rainier may have a lot of people willing to fight in her name. She may help, just like those people might just crash the gates, you know, and maybe someone gets kidnapped, maybe someone gets killed in there. Maybe Helena, she's always so scared of people touching her. So maybe she'll face her fear, and people are gonna come in, actually gonna get her. Sidebar: You're giving me the product of Daenerys and Jon Snow with this look tonight, buddy. Oh, you think so? Am I giving you Robert Stormborn? Thank you, thank you. We can't afford shirts over here. It's very hot where we travel. And just some topics as we wrap up. We'll wrap up in the next 5 minutes. Um, I was discussing with Stevie Joseph. I know, not Helena. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Some things to talk about. Like this series, a lot of things are happening very quickly. And we were discussing how in one scene, Rhaenyra was discussing with the White Worm. Oh, maybe, with Rhaenys. Oh, maybe I can get over to King's Landing and talk with Allison. And then all of a sudden, next scene, she's already over there. In the other show, even in Game of Thrones, things happen a little slower. It would have been like a build up, like maybe a little bit of her travels. Maybe she almost gets captured or something. Someone almost finds out, or she meets someone interesting who has more information that could show up later and be important. But they just jumped right into it. So it's like TV these days is like it's rough to get so invested, because because things are just happening so quick. But I'm enjoying it still. I still feel like the show is giving me a lot in these short episodes. And it's still packing a punch. This year we had the fantastic and multi Emmy nominated episodes of X-Men '97. I didn't get to see if House of the Dragon got any nominations. Let's just look that up. House of the Dragon Emmy nominations. Let's see if they got any Emmy nomination. Um, Emmy Best Drama, entirely different. Here are the 2024 Emmy nominations. Uh, let's see what we got here, because we saw, yeah, like I said, some of our people got nominated, but I'm just checking to see if there's anything positive for House of the Dragon. Shogun's getting a lot of love. Another nerdy show. I want to catch up with it. Oh man, none of the actors got nominated. Wow, that's a crime. Well, I guess it's technically not out last year. Is that what's going on? It was like we missed a year. It was already nominated in the other season, like when it was on. So I guess this is technically its off year, right? So it'll be nominated. It'll be up for nominations next year. Okay, that sounds fair. That's what I'm breaking it down to. That's what I'm breaking it down to. But oh wow, look at my girl Jennifer Aniston nominated. Okay, girl. Well, I will shout her out. Carol Burnett, Cheryl Lee Ralph. Yeah, some great names. All right, I won't break I won't break our illusion of Westeros so much, but yeah, this show has a lot to offer, and I'm excited. Anything in the chat you want to discuss, or any last messages that you want to leave real quick before we move on? Um, Let me know. Go ahead and leave those now. But if not, I'll just give some of my other predictions. Outside of this walls being stormed, I think they might bring it to Rhaenyra Dragonstone already. Like, she's barely got much going on. I'm like, when are they just gonna attack her ass over there? Like, she got so much. Like, is there like, does she have a real strong defense over there? Really? Like, should they just go for it and attack her? I don't know. Vagar is weak. They got Sunfire that Kristen Cole mentioned that they left over there at Rook's Rest, and he's like got like his wing damaged, so he's just like a handicapped dragon. Um, this season is gonna be amazing. Do you think Rhaenyra will be the queen who never was? Oh, Rhaenyra, unfortunately, I think that's gonna be the case. I don't think she's ever gonna make it a King's Landing. I think it's gonna be. I think the whole show is gonna be pretty much be about the Greens. You know, they usurped her, and she's gonna be fighting tooth and nail till she dies, till she's over. Um, I think she'll be a queen, whoever was. Unfortunately, or if they let her somehow reach it, I feel like she'll be undermined and then killed because, spoiler alert, I do remember what was mentioned in Game of Thrones about how mm, Rhaenyra's fate goes, shall we say. So, I don't know. I think Rhaenyra, unfortunately, is not going to have the happiest of endings, and we love her. Let's just say I hope we see a certain Nettles appear. Yeah, I heard about this character Nettles that hasn't showed up just yet in the series. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they got. I'm looking forward to see Otto return. Is anyone missing Otto? I thought he was so fun. I loved Otto. So yeah, I think we'll just leave it at that. And yeah, just for the record, we know Damon's mother is Alyssa, by the way. So just to put her name out there, if anyone ends up wanting to look her up. And da 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 da. Sneak into team line to meet with Nora and oh right, and then just to clarify some details, uh, the Queen's loyal lady in waiting, Alinda, was the one sneaking into King's Landing to meet with none other than Diana, the servant girl who Aegon sexually assaulted during the events in the first season. That's who Mysteria set this all up. So, you know, they're tuned in. The small folk will be tuned in and making it happen. I love her, but Joffrey told us to spoil her if he didn't watch Game of Thrones. Yeah, everybody here watched Game of Thrones several times over, but you know these details slip the brain. But yeah, damn Joffrey too. It would be Joffrey that so lovingly. It was when he was giving Sansa the tour, right? He's such a little shit, such a little jerk. Um, so yeah, um, guys, I leave you here. I am so excited to see what more this show has to cook up for us. I know it's gonna be good. It's gonna be a crazy season. We're only at episode 5, and there must be 6 and 8. We got 3 more. So, oh, Marjorie the tour. Right, thank you. I was like, I know he was giving one of his ladies the tour. That little jerk. He was such a jerk, wasn't he? I feel like social media wasn't as big as it is now because Kristen Cole had to um, get off of social media or block his comment section on his Instagram because people were writing him. They can't disconnect the fact that he's a person and Kristen Cole is a character, you know, and he's not that person because people were just writing him so much hate. It was so stupid. Um, so yeah. For being my co-host. Oh, let's see. Yeah. Yes. So, yep. My babe co-host. Bam. So there's me. Oh my god, look, my comment made it. I'm like somebody too. um. So yeah. Thanks for watching. We're gonna keep it short. We keep it short so we don't go over too far over the over hour mark. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back next Wednesday at 10. And yeah, tell your friends, watch, and let's have fun together. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment, a like, follow me on social media. I'm Robert Mercado at Robert Mercado World. Um, cheers to you all. Don't drink and fly dragons. It does not end well. Um, and yeah, have a great week. I'll see you soon. Bye. Bye, guys. Thanks for watching.